Hey everyone, so this is challenge 4 for Fundamentals of Digital Media. The theme of this week is a museum, and I just did a Google search for images of museums and found the Vienna Museum, an exterior shot. So let's go ahead and get started. So first thing we want to do is go ahead and open up the file. Alright, and we'll kind of zoom in. Let's go ahead and fit it to screen. And then the next thing we want to do is go ahead and make a backup copy. And then we can go ahead and get rid of the original. Alright, let's go ahead and save it. It's always a good idea to save it often. Alright, so some of the techniques we learned last week in class were all adjustment layers. And so we're going to go through a few. The first one we'll do is black and white. And so there's two ways to do that. You can come up to image and hit adjustments and go to black and white. That's going to basically apply that to the current layer. The other way of doing it is having the adjustment shown here and then select the one that you want. And so I just want to select black and white, and it basically generates a new layer for me. All right. And then I'm going to go ahead and save this out as a JPEG. So we'll reuse it for later. Alright, and so that's the first technique that we're going to apply. It's just black and white. Alright, and we'll hide it. And then the next one I want to do is the brightness and contrast. So we'll look through here, and it's the first one. And I want to adjust the brightness to -50 and increase the contrast to 35. And so you can kind of see how it sharpens up the image. Alright, we'll go ahead and save that. Okay. Alright, so that's the second technique. The third technique we're going to look at is the hue and saturation. So we'll go back to adjustments here. And we'll look until we find the one that says hue and saturation. Alright, and for this one I want to increase the saturation to 65 and decrease the lightness to -15. And so we can kind of see how it brings out the purplish color in the domes. Brings out the blue sky and the green shrubs. Alright, and I'm going to go ahead and save that as a JPEG. Alright, and we can kind of just look at the combination of these different ones. Just to see how they change. Alright, the next adjustment layer that I'm going to do is the invert. This one's kind of just for fun. There we go. So it's the first icon on the third row. Alright, and there's really not much adjustment to this one, so I'm going to kind of just like leave it where it's at. And we'll go ahead and do a save as. just to see how it changed. Alright, so there's 4 techniques so far. Alright, let's do the 5th one. Let's do the Posterize. So that kind of pixelates the image a little bit. And I want to go ahead and bring up the level to about level 20. And let's go ahead and apply the hue and saturation to it as well, and maybe the brightness contrast. Alright. So I think it's a pretty interesting looking picture. I'll go ahead and save that one. Alright, the next one I want to do is the Vibrance. And so Vibrance I couldn't really find in this selection here. So what I'm going to do is unselect all of these. And I'm going to make another background copy. And we're going to call this one Vibrance. Alright, so for this one we're going to go to Image, Adjustments. And it's in the second section. Alright, and I want to increase both of these to +100. And so it kind of just brings up the colors again. Go ahead and save that one. And so I'm just doing all of this just because I went through and pre-selected what I wanted to show off, and I thought these were pretty cool looking pictures. Alright, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So number 7 is shadows and highlights. So we want to make another background copy. And the reason I'm doing this is because I don't want to overwrite the original picture, because I want to reuse that in part of a collage. Alright, we'll go back to Image and Adjustments. So we'll look for Shadows, Highlights. Alright, and I want to bring up the shadows to about 50%, and the highlights also to 50%. You kind of see a big change of the way the shadow hits it. Alright, let's go ahead and save that one. Alright, and then the last technique I wanted to show off, let's go ahead and make another background image, is the Selective Color. I'm not sure if that one is in this one, so let's go through. Yep, so we do have that one there. So you can easily just do that. Alright. And then for this one, I wanted to change the green. So I want to bring in a little more of the cyan, the blacks, the yellows, decrease magenta. And then we wanted to do the blues. So we definitely want more cyan, more black, less magenta. Actually, let's go less yellow, more magenta. Let's make it a deeper color. Let's try white. Let's see what happens. So this one I didn't really pre-select. So I'm just kind of playing with this just to see what happens. I kind of like it there. And then we have any other colors that we can try. Yeah, let's leave the neutrals alone. So as you can see, there's the different colors that are in the picture that you can play with. There are some presets. Well, I say there are. There's default and custom. But so that's selected color. And I'll just go ahead and save this as a JPEG. One, two, three, four, five, six. So this is selective color. Get rid of that layer because I don't need that layer. Let's do shadow and highlights again. Apparently we saved that as PSD, not JPEG. So let's do it as JPEG. Alright, so that's the 8 techniques. Let's go ahead and zoom out. Alright, and let's see, what size canvas do we have here? Alright, so we got 2560 pixels by 1920 pixels, and basically what I want to do is add those other 8 photos around it. So we need to go 256 on either side, and then 1920 top and bottom. So let me get my calculator out. So we do 256 times 3. Or 2560 times 3, sorry about that. Alright, so that is going to be 76080. Okay. And then 1920 times 3, 5760. Alright, and let's go ahead and zoom out some more. Okay, and then let's go ahead and bring in those other pictures. So I'm just going to try to drag each one in individually, and let's just see what happens. So I'm just dropping them to the canvas, pressing enter to stick them. Alright, so that's my collage. Go ahead and save as. So save it as a PSD, and then we'll save it again as a JPEG. So I know this was kind of a fast video, but there's a lot of stuff that I wanted to get through, and we are out of time, so thank you. I'll post this up to YouTube with the link and file, and hopefully that y'all can use this to kind of play around with something that you like to do. So, all right, thank you, and we'll see you next time.